That's pepper. If you're making this in the morning especially, people are hungry, so we need to chop chop. Hello, hello. So today we are going to spice up our oatmeal, quite literally. So I need to make a shout out to my friend Lizzie, who shared the idea for this recipe, the idea for me to make this recipe with you guys. And I don't even know if she watches my YouTube videos, but she sent it to me on Instagram. So Lizzie, if you're here, thank you. But you'll also be seeing this on Instagram, at least pictures of it. So to start, oh yeah, we're making carrot cake baked oatmeal. To start, I have my oven preheating to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I think 400 degrees Celsius would just be crazy and impossible, but I decided to specify. But we're going to get out a large mixing bowl into which we just get to dump all of our ingredients. We need 2 cups of oats, and I'll link the recipe down below for you guys, but the recipe doesn't specify whether it's instant oats or old-fashioned oats. I just have old-fashioned oats, so that's what we're going with. We need 2 cups, and then we need 2 cups of milk. So this recipe is a vegan, plant-based recipe, but you can absolutely use real milk. So we need 2 cups of whatever milk you're using. We need a 1/4 cup of craisins. The recipe says cranberries, but we are not using whole unsweetened cranberries. Get yourself some dried cranberries. And then a 1/4 cup of walnuts. You can definitely leave these out, but I think it's gonna bring a nice crunchy texture to our baked oatmeal, because if I were making carrot cake, I would leave the walnuts out personally. I typically don't care for nuts in recipes, with some exceptions, but I decided we're just gonna make the recipe as it is because I've never had it before. So we're just gonna give it a try. And if I like it and I don't want the walnuts in it, I can just leave the walnuts out next time. All right, so we need 1 large carrot shredded. Now, I had 2 smaller carrots and I could have done a 1/3, but this is about 3/4 of a cup of grated carrot. So a large carrot is relative to what you're used to, but this is 3/4 of a cup of carrot. All right, we need 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. And if you don't have these, you could definitely leave them out. They bring some healthy fat to the party, as well as a decent amount of fiber, a little bit of protein, some calcium, some iron, and a tiny, tiny bit of potassium. But that's for 2.5 tablespoons, and we put 2 tablespoons in the whole thing. So that doesn't negate the nutritional value of the chia seeds, but put them in, leave them out, whatever you please. All right. We need a teaspoon of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1, 2. We need a 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, a pinch of salt. That's pepper. We don't want pepper in there. There's our pinch of salt. And then we need 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Close enough. 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. You could also use honey. If you don't have maple syrup or honey, you could use, I would use 3 tablespoons of white sugar. I know this is calling for 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, but the sweetness factor just seems to be higher in maple syrup and honey by volume. So if you use sugar, use 3 tablespoons of white sugar or brown sugar. Either one would work. And last but not least, a 1/4 cup of almond butter. All right, 1/4 cup of almond butter. All right, get yourself a spoon or a spatula and get everything just all mixed together. So make sure all of our dry ingredients, our cinnamon, nutmeg, baking powder are all evenly distributed throughout our mixture. Make sure we're scooping everything up from the bottom so everything gets moist from the milk. Make sure we don't have any clumps of grated carrot or our dried cranberries. We want to be able to taste everything in every single bite. So this mixing should only take a few minutes. Not even a few minutes. It should take maybe a minute. And then once you have a nice homogeneous mixture, everything looks the same, we're going to get out an 8x8 baking dish. Now, the original recipe says to use a 7x10 baking dish, and some people might have that size of a dish, but that's not it's not the most common baking dish, but they say an 8x8 pan will work well. So I'm gonna line this bad boy with parchment paper for easy cleanup. Oh no, I ripped it. All right, try again. Take 2. That's better. Just need to be gentle. And then we're just going to pour all of our oatmeal mixture right into our pan. Give your bowl a good scrape. It'll come out pretty easily. And then just spread it out so that you have a nice even layer all around. And it's quite a liquid mixture, so you could give it a little bit of a jiggle. And we're going to pop this in the oven for 30 to, let me double check, 35 to 40 minutes. And then while that's going on in the oven, we're going to make our cream cheese frosting. And I know this is supposed to be breakfast and breakfast is supposed to be healthy, but can you really have carrot cake without frosting? Now this recipe has us making a vegan plant-based cream cheese frosting with silken tofu, and that's okay, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to make a not healthy cream cheese frosting, and I have no regrets about that. So again, I'll leave the recipe linked below in the description for you guys if you would like to go make the other cream cheese frosting. So I have a 7-ounce container of spreadable cream cheese, and I'm not really the biggest fan of cream cheese frosting, but it goes with carrot cake so well. I'll tell you a tip later, but actually no, I'll tell you right now. I like to cut a cream cheese frosting, like if you have a recipe for cream cheese frosting and you don't like how dense it is and rich it is, what I'll do is I'll make half of the recipe for the cream cheese frosting, and then I'll add equal parts of like Cool Whip or whipped cream. And then it just makes it a lighter, less rich cream cheese frosting. And you still get all of your cream cheese frosting flavor. It's just a little lighter on your palate. So I'm not doing that today, but a little tip. So I have 7 ounces of cream cheese. You can definitely use the regular 8-ounce block. And I might not need the whole thing, but I don't plan to be using cream cheese for anything else. So we're just gonna make the whole tub. And if I don't use it all, I'm sure I'll find a use for it. All right, so we have our cream cheese. And most of the time, cream cheese frosting is made with powdered sugar, but we have the maple syrup sweetening our oatmeal, so we're gonna have maple syrup sweetening our frosting. You can use confectioner sugar if you want, but this is what I'm going to use. And I don't know how much to use, so we're just gonna start off with 4 tablespoons or a 1/4 cup, because the recipe calls for like 3 cups of confectioner sugar. Was that 3 or 4? I don't know. We'll add more if we need it. And then we need a teaspoon of vanilla. And we're supposed to add butter, but I'm gonna see how this tastes before I add any butter. And if you let your cream cheese come to room temperature, that would be very helpful. All right, let's give it a little bit of a taste test. Now, I'm not the biggest cream cheese person, so we'll see. Just because butter is nice, I'm gonna add a little bit of butter. You definitely don't have to, because this tastes, it's like, this right now tastes like a sweet cream cheese. And I think that would taste good on our oatmeal. But since we're going for the carrot cake effect, I'm going to add a little bit of butter and a little bit more maple syrup, just maybe another tablespoon. And then I'm gonna get our butter worked in, and then we'll see how that affects the flavor of it. And I'll let you know. Okay, taste test number 2. I don't know, I don't know if I don't think I'm gonna add any more butter, but I'm gonna add more maple syrup. Just because I can. Now again, it's totally up to you. Like I'm making my decisions here going off of a cream cheese recipe that calls for powdered sugar, cream cheese, butter, and vanilla. Now some cream cheese frostings call for milk. So if you have like a go-to cream cheese frosting that you want to use that. Like I'm just kind of here experimenting with you guys. And like I said, if you want to use the silken tofu recipe that the original chef used, it'll be linked down below. I do have to say, I like using the maple syrup now because I know you're supposed to sift the powdered sugar so that your cream cheese frosting is nice and smooth, but I usually don't because I don't have a sieve, but maple syrup lets me not have to use that. You know what, I'm gonna leave that there. I'm not sure how sweet I want it to be on the oatmeal because, first of all, it's not dessert, but second of all, I don't know how sweet the oatmeal is going to taste. And this has a good sweetness to it, but I don't want to overdo it, so I'm just gonna leave this here. I'm going to leave it at room temperature while I wait for our oatmeal to finish baking so that it's easy to spread over the top of our oatmeal. All right, our timer went off. Let's get our baked oatmeal out. All right, look at that. So let's I think it's like most other cakes. You just want like a cake tester, something to come out clean. So no wet spots and no crumbs. Yeah, that came out clean. So the recipe didn't say whether or not to let it cool. I think I'm going to take it out of the pan and let it cool for, well, let me just get it out of the pan. You know what? I'm going to keep it in the pan a little bit and let it cool and come together, let it stay together. The reason I say that is I was kind of pulling the parchment away from the pan and it cracked a little bit. So I'm gonna give it 10 minutes and then we will see about taking it out of its pan. All right, it has been, I think it's been like 10 minutes. So I'm gonna see about getting our baked oatmeal out of the pan. It's still warm, don't get me wrong, it's still warm. Hey, there we go. Now I was debating on whether or not to put our frosting on. And I'm going to wait. We're going to be patient. I'll see how long it takes this to cool down and I'll let you guys know how long to wait. It's not completely cooled, but if you have time to let it completely cool, that's what I would do. But you know, sometimes if you're making this in the morning especially, people are hungry, so we need to chop chop. But the nice thing about having it a little bit warmer is even though our cream cheese frosting is pretty spreadable, it'll be nice that the warmth will allow us to spread the frosting a little easier because it'll make it a little melty. And if you can peel away your parchment, the corners seem to want to stick. So next time I would probably spray or grease my parchment. Yeah, we got it pulling away on the corners a little bit, but that's okay. It'll still taste the same. Now you don't even have to put cream cheese frosting on the top if you don't want to. We're looking pretty rustic over here. But that's okay. You can put some pretty lines on there. I think that's enough frosting. I have a little bit left over, but I can use that on something else. All right, and then just to make it pretty, I have a little bit of garnish. A little bit of shredded carrot, a little bit of extra dried cranberry, well, might as well put the rest of them that I got out on it, and then a little bit of walnut. This definitely looks like dessert more than breakfast. What do you think? Good? Did I miss any spots? There we go. Wow. I'm just gonna put the rest of it on. All right. Look at this. What do you think? All right, let's try it. Let's cut ourselves a piece. Here we go, a nice cross section for you guys. All right, bon appetit. Definitely getting carrot cake vibes. I mean, we have to remind ourselves, this is not carrot cake, it's breakfast and it's oatmeal. It's good. I like it. Next time I would put a little bit more maple syrup in our frosting. But I would make this again. I'm very happy with those walnuts in there. And the craisins give us a little extra sweetness in there because we didn't sweeten the oatmeal very much at all. So we're getting the sweetness from that little bit of maple syrup. Craisins, when you get a sweet bite of craisin, and then the sweetness that we have on our frosting. Yeah, this is nice. In the first bite that I took, I hadn't gotten any cranberry or walnut, but once I did, it was very nice. Sorry, I'm just over here enjoying my oatmeal. Add this recipe to the exception list where I will allow nuts to be added in. Yep, I can just imagine eating a piece of this with a cup of warm coffee in the morning. So Lizzie, you gave me a pretty good one. I appreciate the recommendation. For the rest of you, if there are any recipes that you'd like me to make, or there are any dishes or desserts that you'd like to see my recipe for, leave me a comment down below. This channel is for you guys, so help me help you. And I'm sure this will keep well in the fridge, so it would be an easy make ahead and then take it on the go if you needed to, or it's just ready for you to cut off a piece in the morning whenever you're ready to eat breakfast. So give it a try, let me know what you think, or if you have other baked oatmeal recipes, let me know. I'd love to try them out. If you guys like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you would like to see more videos from me, hit that subscribe button and that bell so that you know when I drop my next video. And thank you all for watching.